Comfort is the enemy of growth. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable, but the upside to that is you're growing. So it's all good.
Hello, my name is Brandi Hofer, your host of the Color Me Happy podcast. I am so glad you're here. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. If you want more weekly content just like this, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out on Instagram at Brandi Hofer Studios anytime. I'm happy to chat. That's where I sit. And I'm so glad you're here, and I cannot wait for you to dive in. So give us a like and subscribe and check the rest of our channel out.
Comfort is the enemy of growth. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable, but the upside to that is you're growing. So it's all good.
It is. I am comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because it's just all the time.
Yeah,
I'm very self-conscious about my skin. I wake up every day self-conscious about it. I'm like, it's so funny. I get so excited. I'm like, oh, I don't have to see anyone to go out and I can just not wear makeup and I can
absolutely
whatever. And then it ends up, I check my schedule. I'm like, shit, I have a podcast, or oh, I had to do a story, or oh, I had to go check out. And it's just like, or I pick someone up from sports, and I'm like, why am I even fucking bothering or caring? Everyone's doing the same shit. They're afraid of the same things.
So true. It is so true. No one's
Don't
even
let
watching,
it stop you.
Yeah.
Don't let it stop you from meeting someone neat or taking the vacation. Or I remember, and I wrote this in a chapter in my book, my husband, and he's swimming now, but it's been 5 years since I wrote this book. He'd always say he loves swimming for fitness, and he swam as a kid. Not that he loved it. His parents made him. But he likes the way he feels fitness-wise, but he's like, I can't go in a swimsuit until I'm this weight. So it prevents him from the fitness and the feeling good, and it's like it's like this double negative. It's just like it doesn't work. It's just like, go do the thing that makes you happy, and fuck no one. And next chapter in the book is no one cares. Nobody cares. No one cares. No one cares about
so
true. In our own heads. Like, you think they're staring at you at the gym? They're likely not. Or wherever you are.
But in the same sense, even if they are, who cares? Like, like it's not going to change what I'm doing. But it's such a mental block. It really is. I mean, I felt that way for so long as well. I'm not a real artist until I have this. I'm not going to do this until I'm there. And I need to. It's so crazy all the blocks we put in our way, and it just stifles everything. But yeah, like you say, screw it. Just show up, do the thing. I can see I've got hives going on already, but like, hey, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm like 49 in December. And so I just think it gives me a glow. You know what I mean? Like, normally ladies are pinching their cheeks. I'm like, I glow from the cool stuff. Like,
I have to do that. I don't have a flush. I don't have flush. Like, I'm an olive, and I just don't get flushed. Like, so I pay for the blush to put on every day to be flushed.
Wow.
You've got good circulation. You've got to go and know. Okay, say it one more time so everyone can really soak it in. Here is your quote you started with.
Oh my goodness, I've just kind of lost absolute track now.
Something about failure. I meant to write it down, but I didn't.
Was it comfort is the enemy of growth?
Comfort is the enemy of growth.
And that's the thing. I think our natural default is to get comfortable. But I love the uncomfortable, actually. I get excited when things are out of my realm of control. It is thrilling. I don't get there willingly, but when I'm in it, I'm like, that's exciting. I have to think of a different way, and I have to do something different, and it's quite exciting. But getting there is not by choice. I'm normally just kind of find myself in it haphazardly, and then somehow it figures out. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So,
well, I just remember I would F up so hard in front of the camera, and I still do so much. And But honestly, people really resonated with that. You can't change who you are.
No, it's so true. You can hide who you are. But I think when you're doing the podcast, and I've watched some of your podcasts, and I just think, how does Brandi do it? Like, in fact, the whole of today, I was just thinking, like, how relaxed is Brandi? Is she chilled going into this? I was anticipating what I'm going to say and what I'm going to talk about. And my daughter's like, what if you get stuck on what to say? I'm like, then the hives start. I think that's when the nerves really set in.
Then I'll
like,
pick
oh,
up and come up with a question that I thought of in the 4 seconds when there was an awkward pause. That's my job.
I know, but honestly, I admire it. I admire your podcast so much.
Oh, thank you. I don't think about it anymore, but it was really nerve-wracking at first. And whenever I go on someone else's, like I went on Jenna Kutcher's, and I do feel that because I know she has millions of people listen, and that is a lot.
Yeah.
Don't worry, there's no millions in here.
Well, even if it's 10, I mean, that's like, wow, it's a lot. But yeah.
Thank you for coming on. I'm excited to hear about your process and your journey because I'm genuinely really curious about what you do and how you do it because it's so tactile and there's so much patience required. And how you came similar to Jo Rowitz, like she's got those little clay. Do you know Jo? Yes.
I do know,
yeah. Just like the thin clay, like that's my actual fucking nightmare. Like
totally.
I make clay with Teddy because he makes me do clay. And honestly, we've broken like 20 of and that's not even as thin as she gets. Like those things are my ADHD or nightmare. So tell me how you got into that. Like, because there had to be a creative journey leading up.
My creative journey, I've always been a creative person. Like, I don't recall a moment in my life where I haven't got scissors and glue and tape and paper and stuff. So I've always, but I class it more as like crafting as opposed to being an artist. I would never dare call myself an artist. I never thought I would ever do art in my life. I just thought like go get a job, do the sensible thing. But art has always been there. Like creativity has always been there. So when my kids were born and they were having birthday parties, I just went crazy. Like my friends would say, you should go into event like planning and stuff. And I'd be like, oh, heck no. I do this because I love it, not because I want to make a career out of it.
Totally ruin it.
Exactly. Yeah. But it was just such an outlet to be absolutely creative and go crazy. But it's such a funny thing because paper flowers like found me. And it's something I tell my kids as well. Like, don't worry about what your passion is in life. It will find you. Like somehow, the more you're just going about your life and doing your thing, that thing will come to you, whether you are 20. I mean, I was in my like 40s when this happened. So it will find you at some point. But when you stop and you kind of open yourself up to things, it just finds you. And it found me at a good time in life. And in the most random way, my husband has got a jewelry store. He's a goldsmith. And we had gone to the forest and collected all these beautiful big branches that we bundled together to make a beautiful installation above his counter. And looking at these things, I thought they needed something. So I thought, why not make some oversized flowers? So I was looking at Pinterest and got some ideas. I said to him, cool, give me a budget, like give me some money. I'll go and buy a bunch of supplies and I'm just going to give it a shot. And they turned out amazing. I mean, I was standing there thinking, I can't believe I made this. But in that, this passion for creating flowers, just something resonated with me. And then I discovered crepe paper from Italy for the first time. And that was crazy. And so from there, it's kind of just built and grown. And it's something that has just been such a beautiful journey for me. It's opened my eyes to nature. It's made me look at things more detailed, not just nature-wise, but like with people and with life and things. It just has forced me to take a closer look at things. I love that. I notice everything around me, much to the annoyance of my family sometimes, because I notice everything. But also that's part of who I am anyway. I'm a very observant individual. So that's kind of how paper flowers came into my life. And ever since then, it's just been a journey of just exploration, messing up, trying a bunch of different materials I could get my hands on, and just seeing where I could take it. And it's been amazing. I love it. So
I think people often discount their innate ability or yearning to play, right?
yes,
Like they're
absolutely.
just like, we're all burnt out. We are. Especially, well, you're probably maybe out of the stage of like little kids, but like it's just like you're doing your best to just like stay above breathing out of the water.
To stay sane.
Yeah, and honestly, like, and I talk about this a lot, and I definitely hit burnout more than I'd like.
Yeah.
And my husband's always like, you gotta give something up. And I'm like, this is what's keeping me like going. This is
Absolutely.
like, I love everything else, but this is the me. Like this
Yeah.
is the me here. And I loved what you said. Don't worry about your passion in life. It will find you. And then you said, but you have to stop and you have to let it. And that's what we talk about in Art Academy all the time. You do have to like take the walk, and when we're in this season of like burnout and go, and we have all these resources at our fingertips to constantly be distracted, it's very hard to find those quiet moments of joy and play. And then self-discovery while you're playing. That's what happens.
Exactly.
So I want to hear about how you found the paper in Italy and how that changed. I want to hear that a little bit more about that.
Okay, so in South Africa, we are very we don't have access to a lot of materials. And we've got one lady in Johannesburg who supplies the Italian crepe paper. I think I was actually just Googling. I went onto Instagram and I saw people were using Carta Tecnica Rossi paper and Carta Fini, and I thought, what is all this about? And there happened to be a lady in Johannesburg who was selling 180-gram Carta Tecnica Rossi Italian crepe paper. So I thought I would order myself a roll, and I got like a little flower template that came with it, and it arrived, and it's this beautiful creped paper, unlike anything I've ever seen. But I mean, I just think about that moment. I remember cutting out the petals exactly to the template, but not realizing the paper had so much stretch. So a petal that should have been like this big ended up like that big. And just all these things. I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't know. So it's just basically just playing with this paper. Like, what can I do? Throwing it into some water. How long can it stay in water? And what does water do to the color? Putting bleach on it. I threw everything in. I even like lit it on fire just to see like what would happen. So when I discovered this paper was really like so petal-like and so strong and sturdy, it's so delicate looking, I was absolutely hooked. I was just like, wow, this is amazing. So that sort of really took me to a whole other level of what I could do with paper flowers. And from there, it was like, I experimented. I mean, during lockdowns, I experimented with everything. I was cutting up milk bottles. I was saving all our water bottles to cut the plastic and make flowers out of plastic bags. So it really is such an amazing art in that anything you find, you could turn it into art. There's stuff that people discard can be turned into a beautiful piece of art to be looked at for years and years and years. So, but yeah, the crepe paper was definitely an eye opener for me as to, I felt like a real legit paper flower maker when I was holding this paper in my hands. Like, it's amazing. I mean, even Aileen's tacky glue, we don't have it in this country. So I ordered myself some off Amazon, and as it arrived like about a month or so ago, another one of those moments, I feel like I'm a legit artist. I'm using Aileen's tacky glue like all the other paper artists in the world. So it's those little things that keep you just like so excited, or maybe it's just me, I don't know. But I get so excited about things like that and feel like, wow, I can do something, cool with this, and investing in my art and investing in myself by spending money and things like that on doing something that I love.
I say that all the time. That's like my main social media message is invest in yourself and your art, because
Absolutely.
I love hearing about your passion. Like you can tell you're lit up, and maybe I'm not as geeky about it. Sorry, I just called you a geek, but geeky about paper as you are. I love paper, but I don't like, I like maybe for collage, but like there are some people who really like, you love paper.
I love
and
paper.
you get excited about a glue, and we get obsessed about these little, like, either methods or what someone's doing. And if you're interested in what someone's doing, like, reach out to them, see what they're doing, or take their class, or invest in yourself. And I'm not saying, I'm not sure, I'm quite sure about like the whole going back to school and spending. So unless you have to, as a creative, I feel like your path to discovery is, unless you need some sort of certificate or to get certified in something, like your path is going to be in doing the things and doing. And I had this conversation yesterday with a young woman in her 20s, and it was at the laser place, like the face laser place. And she said they didn't have the same lasers. They didn't have anything in their training program, really. So then she's like, I've learned so much by actually just being here at it's Complexions by Rachel. I love her. And I've learned so much from Rachel that I'm like, but you just had to get the certificate. But it was only a year, not so bad. But now you're learning by doing. Like, she's like, maybe I should have gone to a different city or town. I'm like, in that case, like, you're learning way more from being. And that's the same as creatives or in anything. Like, I wouldn't drop, like, my friend was going to drop $7,000 in coaching the other day. And I was like, just don't.
Yeah, no.
Just don't. Like, when it comes to that amount, and I know, like, Jen Sincero always talks about her $87,000 coaching experience and how it took her to the next level. That's great. But I feel like with all the resources available, and if you're really like thrifty and you're really driven, you'll find a way to do it anyway. Like, I don't think you have to, spend your life savings.
I mean, it's such a fine line. Like, for me, I really sort of limit myself to what I'm investing in, and just because I want my creativity to be authentic. So unless there's really something I need to understand about something, I'll think about investing and doing something to understand it more. But I like to sort of figure it out on my own. I think there's such a beautiful result from just sitting with something, struggling with it, trying to figure it out by yourself. That makes your process so authentic as well. And then that's why, like, I love to teach. Like, I love to just figure out a flower for 7 months and, like, literally struggle with it, scream, yell, all those good things, and then suddenly it all comes together. Like I say, suddenly, but it's been a 7-month journey. But then I can really teach it to somebody. I can say, I can teach you this flower now because I know it inside out. I know everything about it. I know how this paper works because I've sat with it. So I think there is benefit to signing up for things, but I think if you can sort of slog it out for a while, as long as you can, to try and understand and figure out what your perspective is, what you want to bring to that, there's also some value in that. Like, don't give up too quickly and invest in someone else's ideas and thoughts. Try and kind of find your own way.
Path to self-discovery.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think, and with my friend, because she's taking coaching. Sorry, Darcy. She's taken so much training and coaching. That's why I said no to her. I think there's a level and an element of procrastination in,
totally,
like you said, like, and I see it in my community too. They're like, there's one portrait step that scares the shit out of people, and they're like, I don't get how this won't ruin the whole thing. And I'm like, every time, like, just, you have to do it. Like, just try it. And then you have to, like, you're literally watching me do it in the video. I just trust the process and try it. And if you're nervous about putting it on top of the painting, do a test, like, do 5 tests. I don't care. Like, you have to do it. Like you have to wait. You have to, even if it's for 15 minutes a day, you have to show up and start doing these things. So how do you show up for your creativity and your process every day? Because it sounds time consuming.
In a very messy way. It's interesting. I show up at my desk every day if I can. I also allow myself time just to be away from everything flower related and just literally focus on something completely different. So just give myself a break, because oftentimes breakthroughs happen when I step away and don't even want to think about it anymore. I'm like, I'm not even going to worry about that anymore. Then suddenly the idea will come to me. So, but I show up every day. I sit here, whether it's rearranging my desk, I'm always moving things around, or reorganizing, shuffling to get my head in a different space. And then oftentimes I've got bags of scrap paper and I'll pull them out and just play with something and let me try this, what will happen. And then I sort of note my results and I'll just literally play. And then other times where I'm working on a course right now where I'm working with this flower and I'm just getting so frustrated with it because I've got this idea in my head of what it should look like, but it's not turning out that way. But I'm very stubborn, so I'll sit with it the whole day. And then I'm like, okay, done. Let's go for a walk. But yeah, I show up every day, whether it's to make notes, whether it's just to play with something and see what's happening, whether it's to do some just cleaning my tools that I've got on my desk, or rearranging stuff. It's my time. I look at it. I mean, I homeschool my children. They are like 14 and 15, super independent, super self-sufficient, which is amazing. But when they're needy, they're needy. But this is my time. So I show up every day, different times of the day, depending on what's happening. But also showing up for this is my time. It's me doing what I love to do. It's taking time with us to get my thoughts together, whether it's just to kind of make sense of a situation that's happening. Sitting at my desk kind of brings clarity. And I think it goes back to childhood when I'd always go sit in my room on my bed with my little craft box and just kind of make things and just dabble. It was just such a peaceful escapism for me. I was the only sort of creative one in my family, so often felt very incredibly misunderstood, which maybe explains why I'm a crazy artist now. I was setting myself up for that, but just sitting here and doing work with my hands just brings such peace and clarity and perspective for me. So even like I said, just rearranging my desk is just, it's just kind of bringing some order to maybe chaos that's happening inside. But that's just how I show up every day for myself. Some days it's just to sit here and watch a Netflix show. Like I'll just literally sit here at my desk and watch a bit of Netflix or something. But I love my little space. I love to just sit surrounded by things that bring me such joy, and also things that I've made with my hands, which is very special.
Recharging alone, you have to know yourself, right? Like I recharge alone as well, right? Like 100%. I'm stuck at hockey rinks. Luckily, that's my husband's passion. And he like fights me. Like if he could be at all three at once, he would. But for some reason, they're all booked at the rink at the exact same slots this year. So it's really bothering him. And I get so overwhelmed there. There's so much noise. And I'm a bit of an extrovert, but like obviously I'm an introvert as well, like a mix, but I can't do it. Like it's such a hard place for me to be. And like I see like other people, like it's their happy place. And I'm like, oh, when I'm helping on the ice, I think that's fun. Yeah. But the whole like overwhelm, like we need our creativity, we need our thing, we need our passion to like survive and come back to ourselves. So I wanted to come back to something you said about just working on one. Do you ever work on multiple projects so there's not so much pressure on the one?
Brandi, at times I work on several things at once. Like it's chaos. I'll end up with a space this size that I'm working on because everything is just papers and 10 different flowers happening, and I'm just getting, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy. I'll work like that for a couple hours until I lose my mind, and then I just have to stop. And I normally go to bed thinking, what were you doing? Like, what are you trying to push yourself over the edge? Like, life is crazy enough. Like, why are you working in such a manic fashion? But yes, I'm often delving into more than one thing at once. And I think that's been something in the last month. I've really just sort of been like, no, listen, hone in on one thing that you're doing. So while I'm doing this project now for this new course that I'm busy doing, my mind is really on 7 other things I want to do. And I'm really like reaching for the paper to try those other flowers. I'm like, stop it. Work on what's in front of you. Just
finish the thing.
finish the thing. Exactly.
I
But
love how you called
like,
it manic. Because
it's manic.
It is manic. When I'm
like,
creating a collection, like they're in my studio, like there, or if I'm doing a mural, like everything's it's like a different mess, and it's a different catastrophe. Like, and then you just have to, like, after you're done, pick up the pieces. You just have to embrace, like, that is what happens, and it's who you are while you're making the thing or things or the project. And then come back and pick up all the pieces after the manic episode of, because it is something that is like has to come out, and it has to be resolved. But also, it's hard. That last 5% is, that's a quote from Brian Baumler. He's like a house building guy. Anyway, they actually have one of my pieces, but they're like HGTV, like they do houses or whatever. Anyway, he says the last 5% is 95% of the job.
Yeah, exactly. It's true.
It feels so hard.
So you also find yourself doing multiple projects at once?
I actually, that's like one of my tricks. What I did in one of my professors, one positive takeaway from university was a nice normal professor, not so self-obsessed, a nice professor. I was stuck on like one piece for like 2 months, and he's like, the next time I come in your studio space, we had our own studio spaces, which is cool. I want like 3 to 5 projects, because you've been working on this one and I remember it being like so, like it was just so stiff. And I wanted it to work, but it just wasn't. And I was working in oils, which you can get really stiff with. And I just put on this new CD that's aging me, put on this new CD, and I just listened to it over and over.
Wow.
And there was, I think it was Kelly Clarkson's like rage-filled CD, which I'm like, she's great, but like I'm not like great. Kelly Clarkson, but it was just like, you could sometimes, if you're stuck, you can feed off other people's creativity. Music. Easy, such an easy thing. Just put on some music and just let go and embrace. One of my professors couldn't even listen to music. He's like, it just overtakes everything I do. And I'm like, I get that. I'm a very expressionist person. But it was Bovi, and he said that, and I'm a very tight people pleaser, which is annoying.
Totally, I hear you.
Yeah. But it worked in that situation, because I was like, he's coming back and I have to do this. I said I would. So I just let go. And since that moment, very long story, since that moment, I've worked on, and I always tell people to not just work on the one thing, but have multiple projects on the go. But finish. And have that goal line. I had a show at the end of that semester. It was my grad show. So I had to do all the pieces, and it was just like something like finally released in me. So it's a good thing. It worked out. Yeah, now I have like a million. Now I'm like murals and the piece for creating online and the shows and the kids and now it's like a million.
I know,
different.
It is.
When people are crazy. Like, "What are you up to?" and I'm like, "Do you really want to know?" Because
and also like, what am I not up to? Like, what am I not doing right now? So it's it's crazy. And the thing is too, I just think about the cleanup at the end. Like I've got 7 things going, but I'm constantly making notes for each thing that I'm making. So it's painful. it's a painful process. I have to kind of just sit, and I'm like a mad scientist. I've got notes scribbled everywhere. So when it comes down to kind of finally getting a thing together, I'm like, oh my goodness, where I found a scrap over there, like another scrap of paper over there. Like,
write that down.
what was this pertaining to? Like, I've written these. What was this for? It just shows I'm working in this mad frenzy of just. I love doing the thing, but I also need to like stop and like document it, because you want to remember how you got there, and invariably you're going to teach the thing, so you need to kind of know what you did and how you got it. So it's a mad, crazy thing, but I love it. It's my crazy little world, and it's something that just makes me very happy.
Madness, and you get to own it.
Totally.
And your kids are homeschooled. I want to talk about that choice. My kids, I just need them to not be here. I wish I could homeschool, but I just can't. But they have to fit into these conforms of a classroom. We just had interviews, and I honestly think teachers are saints. I don't know how they do that every day with 30 kids. They are absolute saints. But like the comments sometimes are so interesting, because like it's like your child makes like noises to himself, but he doesn't realize. I don't think he realizes he's singing or whatever. And you're like, I hear that it would be disruptive, and I know he does it. It is annoying, but at the same time, like as a creative, it's so hard for me not to comment back, because it's like he's singing, like.
I know.
And then we have to tell him not to, and he's got this beautiful voice. What if that's his passion? And what if in school he got told he didn't get to do the weird, or like the teachers or this, like they maybe don't understand, like, but she was so great for asking. I noticed he doesn't really like following the rules exactly of the craft or within the lines. I was like, thank you for asking. He doesn't. And I think they were considering the fact that I've really raised them to be openly creative.
Yeah.
And for this child in particular, he glues weird shit together, and his art is super fucking weird.
But that's awesome though.
It is awesome.
We need that kind of art.
I did like to say in the nicest way, yes, he like has his own, like he kind of marches to the beat of his own drum. So that was great that she kind of picked up on that. But like they are expected, and we were expected in school to fit into these, like, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
It's hard. So what was the choice you decided to?
Well, when you just spoke about the singing thing, I actually got like goosebumps, because the exact same thing happened to me when I was in second grade. I went to the bathroom during school time, and I was in the bathroom just singing my heart. I mean, I love to sing. And the teacher went to my mom and just said, we're not allowing her to go to the bathroom during school time. I have to be during lunch breaks, because she's singing in the bathroom so loudly and it's distracting. And I remember at that moment, like, I just kind of thought I've done something wrong. And it prevented me for so long from singing in front of anybody, because I felt like I'm singing too loud. And yeah, it's little things like that. But for us, it was a practical thing. We moved from KZN in Durban to Cape Town. We set up a business. Our kids were 2 and 3. And so we didn't know like what we're going to do. I mean, my husband's in Hout Bay. We're in the southern suburbs. So it was a bit of a commute to get to work. And I thought, where do they go to school? Do they go there? Do they go here? Whatever. We're thinking all these things. But in the meantime, they went to a little preschool. And I just sort of observed and watched the way the teachers were interacting with the kids. And as much as they do an amazing job, they don't get the chance to really get to know each child well. And at the end of the year, when she gave me sort of my daughter's report, I was like, you don't know my kid at all. Like, I'm not going to tell her what you've written on here about her, because it's not even true. But she was quite disruptive in the class, because she was so bored. And they isolated her and put her in a little room all on her own to work, which absolutely broke her. It was because she's such a social kid. And then after that, my husband and I were just like, you know what, let's give it a shot. Let's just, when they come of age, let's try and school them. And it was amazing. At like 4, my son was reading, writing, doing the whole thing. my daughter took time. She couldn't learn to like read the traditional way, so she loved writing stories. So she'd follow me everywhere and say she wants to write it. How do I spell this? And would spell each word out. So she kind of learned to read and write by writing her own little stories. And now, I mean, they've never set foot in a traditional classroom. They really are just such free thinkers to do whatever. They have to find their own. I mean, I don't school them per se. They school online, so I have very little involvement. But they figure out their own problems. If something happened to my husband and I tonight, they could easily look after themselves. They know how banks work. They know how to do all the life. I mean, they got money. They'll go out and do the grocery shopping. They know how to work to a budget. They know how to put money aside. They know how business works because in our business, they see how we're doing business and what we're doing. So we get to literally walk life with them, and they walk life with us every day. So and they're super social. I mean, they're at Scouts at the moment. They're both leaders of their patrols. Super social, fun, happy, confident. No one's told them they can't do something. No one said you should be a Miss Box and you shouldn't be like that. Like, be wild. My daughter's had her hair blue, green, every color she wants to dye her hair. Like, express yourself. Find who like. It's not so much about the education for me. It's about this kind of finding out who you are. Like, confident people achieve so much more than people who don't have confidence. Like, to me, education it's important, but not everything. I think if you know how to solve problems, if you know how to find the answer, if you are a hard worker, those are the things that will set you up for life. And if you've got confidence, you walk into a room and own it, and you'll get the job over someone who may be reserved or not sure or whatever. I mean, they have to set their own times for things. They are super disciplined because they have to be, not because an alarm goes off that says, go and have your break now and go and do this now. And they are responsible for their own lives and realize that they have to contribute to the world one day, and they have to bring who they are. And that's my thing for them, is find out who you are. Like, education is one thing, but you knowing who you are and a real sense of self, that's everything to me. Like, it's never been about just pushing the education. They've never written a test in their lives. They don't have to. Like, we know where they're at. They know where they're failing, where they are succeeding, and working on it. It's like, it's your ownership's on you. We're here to support, but the ownership is really on you to get your stuff done and do what you have to do. So, yeah, they cook. They're home now, so the dog's going to go nuts for a minute. But I mean, they cook, they clean, they contribute to the home. They're part of the running of the home. They're essential part of our home, and I love doing life with them. We give each other space when we need it. We all come together when we need it. It's working quite nicely. So, yeah.
Oh, good. I always feel like 2 is a really nice balance, and I always tell people to stop there if they can.
No, I wanted a 3rd. I could have had a 4th easily. I
Oh, you have 3. I thought you had 2.
No, I have 2, but I'm saying I could have had a 3rd. I could have had a 4th. I love the idea of a big family. I mean, even watching your boys all together, I think it's just so beautiful and so special.
Yeah, but the third really threw a wrench in the, like,
in the works, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like, he was sick 2 weeks ago, and he went to bed at 5 p.m. and we were all hanging out in the living room for the first time in 5 years. And wow. I put my arms out and I was like, guys, this is what it would be like.
Exactly.
We were watching something together, which we don't get to do because Teddy, love him, but like, he doesn't sit ever. Like, if we tried to do that or if we tried to play Yahtzee, or if we tried to do anything ever, and like, we couldn't even, in parent-teacher interviews yesterday, the one, Gus's teacher, because she was like, her sons played hockey with Gus, so she's witnessed the chaos of Teddy. She's like, just go find Gus's locker, and then the door closed behind them, and she's like, it locked. Just leave them out there.
Oh no.
That was the only way we could do the interview. So like, it's kind of this like inability to like anyone to focus on anything for any amount of time.
Yeah.
With him around, but it makes like fun and interesting, but also just impossible. So, but I love everything you said about being self-sufficient. And I think that those like essential tools to get through life are lacking in, but we're very lucky. Like we live close to a school, the teachers are great. And my solution to that traditional school system is they actually let me start an art academy program somehow, some way. So I get to work at their school. I get to impact like 60 kids' lives a year. And they get to a lot of times Derek, my teaching partner, isn't there, and we get subs, and then they get to come in and see, like, I was like, this is a place for everyone to be themselves and for the weird kids to be weird. And like, this is, and maybe those subs don't always understand. I see it. They like have some of them have a hard time comprehending because they've been like, a lot of them may be retired and they're like, what is this? Like, what are these kids doing? But like, it's so, because they've also confined to this structure, right? They were also, right? And these expectations. And I think more creative saying, I love my life. And I've shared my passion with my children, and my children are confident in wearing purple hair or asking for what they want, or
absolutely.
Your art matters, your creativity matters, everyone's does. And the more that is instilled in the world, I think we will have a better world where people are genuinely happier.
Totally. And it starts in the home. It's like what you're instilling in your children, like they're taking that to school with them. It's not like always the school's responsibility to sort of foster these kids in a certain way. The majority is at home. So when you see happy, confident, self-sufficient kids, it's because it's happening at home. So, I mean, it's why I was just thinking as well, the one thing I loved when I saw your Instagram was just watching you, painting with your boys, and just, I hadn't seen that before, I think, until I saw your accounts of just, there you are doing life with your kids. Like they're just there painting. And I thought that is so amazing, because I was like in the throes of that here, thinking, oh my goodness, like I'm somehow damaging my children. They need to be in school and doing this and doing that, the next thing. But when I saw your account and just you sort of doing life and doing art along with your kids, I just thought that it's so beautiful, and that you've brought them into this thing that makes you so happy, and just seeing their creativity coming out as well was just like so inspiring. So I just remember that about your account when I first came across it, like, oh my word, how amazing. Like, how cool is this mom? Like doing this, sharing her love of art with her kids, and just seeing her kids like sort of thriving and being free and just expressing themselves. And it's been beautiful watching all your children growing as well over the years, over your Instagram, just watch them growing and coming into, young people with just, cool, crazy hair and doing cool things. It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. That's very kind. I have a problem with not being like authentic. Like I can't not share
And it shows.
the messy part.
Totally
It's
comes
just
through.
being honest, right? It's just being honest about who we are, and and dropping perfectionism, because, well, that's a killer. Just as comfort is the enemy of growth, perfectionism is the killer of pretty much everything. Happiness, joy, creativity, everything. There is no such thing as perfect. And I try to say that as much as I can, especially to the massive amounts of kids that I'm with. I do know the profound impact that I maybe have on their lives. I don't know, but I always say, like, practice makes better. It doesn't make perfect. That's the worst thing in the whole world. Practice just makes you better. Showing up for yourself, you'll just get better. You'll never be perfect. There's always going to be someone who you think is better than you.
Yeah.
But having those root things that you're teaching, instilling confidence, self-sufficiency, even as adults, those things are important. Like I always made sports teams. Was I the best athlete? Absolutely not. But I brought a lot of encouragement to the table. Am I the best artist? No. But what I do is I share in the process. We teach along the way. You love teaching, and you help people along the way, and you encourage them to be their authentic selves and do better. So maybe not the best at what you do, but you're sure shit having fun. And more, one of our podcast guests said, more is caught than taught. That goes with other people around you, that goes with your immediate circles and your family. More is caught than taught. And I read this book and it tells me, I read it almost every day or listen to it in the car, and I know what it says, but I always need that reminder. You have to start with you. Like,
totally. Absolutely.
You have to be best, and whatever that means to you, you have to be doing what you love in order for you to thrive and inspire others, because that's another trap, is trying to control others. You're not in control of others.
No, you're not in control of anything. And that's the thing, it's authenticity over perfection, because you just have to bring yourself to things. And I mean, I know, like, I've always been a people pleaser, a lot of it to my own detriment, because you end up living sort of a very masked life where you can't fully be who you are. And now that my kids are older, I've realized too, they don't care about what I have to say. They're watching what I'm doing. So it really is now about me sort of living an authentic life. And I love that, though, because they've pushed me into that realm of thinking about, like, doing things from an authentic place as opposed to doing it, because then you get angry and you get all these weird emotions coming up because you feel bitter about things, because you're doing them in a way that you feel that you're not being appreciated, or you're not being I've just lost my train of thought. But yes, let me just try and think of where I was going. When you're living a life that is unauthentic, it does sort of, people can see it, whether you think that you are convincing them or not. It shows in what you're doing. So having my kids around, I mean, they see everything. Being homeschooled, we're together all the time, so they get to see everything, and they know me a lot better than what I think that they do. So the only choice you have is to live authentically. Do everything you can out of an authentic place, and not strive. I mean, I do strive for perfection sometimes. I do have that issue where, like I said, this flower that I'm working on at the moment, it's like it needs to be perfect. And then somebody reminded me, like, nature's not perfect. So don't, I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's nature, not me. I'm making it so it has to be perfect. But yeah, just putting that onto your kids. Like, I realized too, a lot of when I see stuff in them I don't like, I realize it's only me being mirrored back to me, because they're picking up everything. And then I can't blame anybody. I can't say, well, you got some bad friends. It's me. I'm just seeing myself mirrored back. So I've had to just watch what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and being intentional about everything, and being honest. And I found it so freeing. I mean, especially now as I'm on the doorstep of 50, I think it's a beautiful thing, like so much perspective, and just not this desire to control everything. Well, even this idea of control. Yet we're artists. I mean, you think about being an artist, we shouldn't have control. It's the most freeing, crazy, fun thing to do. And yet there's this idea of, like, control and perfectionism. And the minute you let go of that, the process just happens organically, and suddenly just things work out beautifully. And you think, wow, just that didn't take a lot of effort. It just took just doing what my hands do, because your hands are, they know what they're doing. They know how to handle the paper. Just trust the process. Stop overthinking, because that's also a huge issue of mine, is overthinking. Like I said before I chat today, I was just overthinking everything, and obviously, again, I didn't even say a word, but my daughter obviously picked up on it, which why she was like, what if you don't know what to say? I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, so yeah.
That is my deepest fear right now.
Totally.
Well, look at you. You're killing it. You're doing great. You have so much to say and so much to give.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I love how you said, in nature, like, nothing is the same. Nothing is perfect. And I say that all the time because I get so overwhelmed by the world and mad. Just upset, like genuinely upset. Like, it keeps me up at night, and it's so frustrating. And I know that the world is not in my control realm, and all I can do is control my pocket of the world, in my home. Not even really, but our sense of control is an illusion. But
Yeah.
No flower blooms the same. Why are people expecting human beings to bloom the same? Like, we are all ever changing in nature, always learning, always evolving. And I think to expect people to stick to the conforms of anything or the past is a ridiculous and
It's
sad
crazy.
expectation, you know?
Yeah.
And it anyway, I'm not going to go so dark, but it will destroy the world. People's idea of what perfection is. And if we can embrace the beauty of nature and we are a part of it, just
Yeah, absolutely.
go for a walk on a nice day and lay on some grass or under a tree and just really think about that for a second, you know?
Exactly.
Really soak that in.
It's
That
just
you are a part of
simplicity.
something.
Yeah.
You're unique.
Exactly.
You matter, and you're here for a reason. So
Yeah.
do your thing. Do job. Like, don't worry about the world. Like, don't try not to. But like, you are here for a reason, and focus on that. Focus on your purpose.
Exactly. Don't let everything in. I often tell my children it's the same thing as someone at the door knocking. You don't have to answer the door. Everything that's coming at you, you can also keep the door shut, walk away. You don't have to take it all in. And yes, there's so much craziness going on in the world, so much uncertainty going on in the world. But we have right now, we have this moment, and what's in my control is what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and what I'm doing. That's all. I mean, I can't control my kids and what they do and whatever, but when I'm responding to them out of a calmer place, it's amazing how the whole situation gets diffused. Like when I'm getting worked up because maybe they're worked up, everything escalates to craziness. And I'm telling them too, like, get off the roller coaster. You don't have to ride this roller coaster of emotion. Jump off, take a minute, breathe, go take a walk, switch your phone off. Don't have to follow that account, or you don't have to do this. Those little things are within our control to do. And we need to focus on what brings joy and also bringing our purpose to the world. We're here for a reason, whatever that may be. And that should be your point. Like, look for those things of how I can make someone's life better, how I can make someone smile today. You know, just looking at someone in the eye and just say hello, or it's in the little gestures and it's in the little things. It doesn't have to be complicated. And that's what I love. It just, like I said, I don't know if maybe it's because I'm getting older. It's just kind of bringing a lot of perspective, just calming down and just being just restful. Like it's going to be okay. Like that's not a big deal. Even the big deals are like, it won't be a big deal in a month from now. So just relax. You can ride this wave. And even our kids are 15 months apart, so it was a busy time when they were little. But it was just, I mean, we had our firstborn was a stillborn baby. It was like nearly at 8 months of pregnancy. We had a stillborn, and after that, a year later, I had my son. And I think that just brought so much, like, I didn't care. Like, I'll go through whatever. Like, so I don't care about the chaos. I'm just so grateful to be a mom. And life gets hard and life gets busy and crazy. But at the same time, I know the privilege and the blessing of it all. So I go to bed at night thinking,
nothing harder than what you went through.
Yeah, exactly. And look what I've got. I've got my family. I've got what I really wanted. And so I go to bed at night like exhausted, but like so happy. Like I'm living my best life. Like, are there things I still want? Sure. Are there things I still desire to do? Sure. But right now, today, I've been at my workstation. I've made some flowers. I'm making some progress. I'm doing what I love. I'm on a podcast talking to you. Life is good. Like, there's still so much to be grateful for. And I don't mind the chaos and the busyness because I realize like I'm still in such a good place. And from that, you handle things. You just kind of like deal with the crazy ebbs and flows and, in all things. And I can't control it and it's okay. I can just show up and be the best I can. That's all I can do. And it's enough.
That's what my mom said to me when I got like, I don't know, something on a test and I studied so hard. And she's like, she's finally dropped it because obviously I wasn't an academic. And she was just like, did you do your best? I was like, I did. Like, I don't know how to study, but I did. And I did and she's like, Okay.
I love that.
That's
My
all I
mom
can
was
ask.
exactly
All I
my
can
mom
ask
was
from
exactly
you.
the same. Did you do your best? I'm like, yes. Then you've done enough. And I was like, amazing. So
Mhm.
yeah, I love moms that
There's
are like that.
it's such a freeing moment.
Totally.
And there's so much power in gratitude. I love that you shared that. Gratitude is the most powerful tool, and I think people should use it as a tool every day. Like I
Totally.
call it in my book, I get to. So you just go over I get tos every day, like from beginning to end. Just I got to list them, and
Yeah,
like I got to be in a safe, warm bed
totally.
last night. Yeah. And snuggle my little 5-year-old. Like they're just like there's cool moments that you can come back to in every day.
Exactly.
And when we review them, it just kind of tricks your mind into being a positive person.
Totally. I mean, my daughter, I remember like for months and months, she'd sneak up, climb into bed with us like every single night. And I remember thinking, will we ever just have our bed again? I mean, you'd wake up and there's
I
three
know
of you like little sardines in the bed, and just like, oh my goodness. And then one day, it just like I woke up and she wasn't there. Like it just stopped, and then suddenly, like, wow, it's over. Um, but yeah, the thing is, just you ride with those moments, and it's busy and it's chaotic. But I always think down the line of when they grow up and they're out of the home. Well, I look back and think, like, I mean, yes, the home is messy most of the time, but there's people living here and we're doing life together, and it's crazy and it's messy. But one day I'll have a perfectly pristine home because it'll just be, hopefully, still my husband and I.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's
I
those
always think
moments of,
too, as chaotic as it is, I'm gonna be really lonely.
oh no.
But
Hopefully
everyone
you'll still
gets a
have the
dog.
podcast so we can chat about it.
Yeah.
But
You know,
yeah, those
it kind of
little
sucks that it goes from utter chaos to bored. Right?
totally.
So
Totally. And it almost seems like overnight. I remember thinking, will I ever stop packing bottles and formula and nappies and everything? And then it just stopped. It was like, it's over. They're out of that phase now. And now they're teenagers. I mean, my son is 16 in April next year, and it's going so fast. So now I'm like intentionally slowing down more to spend more time and just stare at them and like look at their little gestures and look at what they do,
and they're
because
like, go away, mom.
totally, like just leave me. Like just it's crazy. Like, oh, why are you staring at me? It's like because I can,
I love you.
because yeah, exactly. And I love you. Like, come on, like, and just like give me a hug. It's crazy. But I treasure every moment because I know it's not something I can guarantee. We don't have forever. So the moments I do have, I'm super grateful that we go to bed at night and we're all still here and all still together. It's just those moments it makes all the chaos worth it. It's like, yeah, it's chaotic, but it'll be okay. It'll sort itself out somehow.
I love that. See, you did so great. I don't know what you were nervous about, but I do have one final question. Sponsored by Red Bicycle Communications. Describe your ideal day. Like if you could do anything with your day. It can like, I always like get food from somewhere interesting.
Okay, so tell me, first of all, tell me about your ideal day.
Oh, no one asked me that ever. I like sometimes like chime in. I would definitely, it's so tough. Like I live where there's winter. Like I'm looking at a couple feet of snow.
Wow.
And like I kind of like running in the cold, but I also like running somewhere nicer. So
yeah,
I like running in the cold is harder for sure. But I like to go for a run because it's like it's like a moving meditation and it's my time and it's quiet. But then I would also like come back and take the boys they in the summer come bike riding with me, and we would go to a park and meet my husband, and we'd have a coffee or a picnic or whatever together after the run alone.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I always like feel better, like it's like everything has been lifted off my shoulders after that run.
Yeah.
And then I'm ready for the day. And then just like some art would be in there, maybe a connection with, I'm describing what I already do. That's the funny part about this.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. Connection with like a human, what, you know, a good conversation, probably a female, just like to really get those in-depth conversations with. Sorry, I'm not meaning to put down males in any way, but anyone with a really deep connection, conversation, and an intellectual conversation where my brain needed to work.
Yeah.
I would also listen or read to something where my brain had to work, learn something, teach something. My day's getting really full.
That's amazing.
Definitely like creativity. And then I would eat spaghetti from Italy, croissant, and a baguette, ham brie baguette from Paris, and swim in an ocean. Just list all my top.
You haven't mentioned the drink, though.
No, I don't drink anymore. If the drink didn't affect and inhibit, like if I didn't get sick, I get so sick if I drink.
I don't drink
either. If I could enjoy it without the effects of the alcohol. So a nice drink, so it could be a mocktail at a nice restaurant and a date with my partner, and so like everything that I could possibly fit in it good, and then watching the sunset, and then seeing the fireflies at my dad's and spend time with my family. I never stay up late enough to see the fireflies anymore, but yeah.
That sounds amazing. Okay,
your turn.
Okay, wow. Okay, so I'm torn between doing stuff with like my family and doing stuff on my own. But I think on a perfect day on my own, I think a perfect day would be sometime on my own. I'd probably want to go to Babylonstoren. I don't know if you've ever heard about Babylonstoren. You should definitely Google it. It's the most exquisite farm. They have the most incredible gardens, and it's just an amazing, amazing place. So I would probably have a leisurely walk through the gardens at Babylonstoren, and just take a whole morning out there. I mean, you really could take a whole morning. I would then go and do some probably flower picking. I go find somewhere to go and just wander through rows and rows of flowers and just go pick some beautiful flowers. And then I would, let's see, I don't even know, they would probably take me to like afternoon maybe, and then maybe have like a sushi date with my husband somewhere on the waterfront, you know, just you know, I don't drink either, so it would be something like a strawberry daiquiri, but yeah, a virgin daiquiri with some sushi, just some really good conversation, or maybe even no conversation. I love to people watch, so I'd maybe just have some glasses on and just like watch people, like just watch, you know what I mean? I'm terrible like that. My daughter's like, what are you looking at? I'm like, I'm watching people. Just stop. I'm just watching people. So there'll be the sushi date. And then in the afternoon, maybe go take a beautiful drive, like over the mountain, and just head down towards Noordhoek, which I love because you go sit there by the beach and you can literally watch the sun go down, like right. It's just incredible. I would do that, and then maybe go for a really beautiful dinner somewhere, like the whole family. And then come home and just crash, you know, just you know, or Netflix, whichever. I might be just totally worn out from the day.
I also love watching stuff. Like I would watch like a really good film.
What do you like to watch?
I don't know. Sometimes my brain's so mushy, it's mush, but nothing too terrible. I don't know.
Not like Game of Thrones and things like that.
I like Game of Thrones. I did film in school. I minored in film. I just like, I can't do horror.
Yeah, me neither.
I'll pretty much watch everything else.
Yeah,
I do love watching stuff. Oh, I forgot about playing music. Like if I could sing with my brother and my sister and my dad would be really cool.
Oh, that's
too.
amazing.
Or anyone. Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow.
And yeah.
So you like to sing?
I do.
So then you
maybe
should do,
not the best at it.
You should do a sketch and sing session. That'd be beautiful.
I did. Frozen 2 was on, and
Oh,
this like climax came on during a live thing, and I just couldn't. I was like,
you're just swept up in the moment.
Yeah, it's like
amazing. Wow.
With that, but like, at this stage of life, and when I started having kids, I do love. I'm not the best at it. That's not why we should stop doing something, but I'm really not that inclined as I am as an artist. So I had to kind of like choose what would help pay for groceries. And unfortunately, music probably wasn't gonna help.
You never know. I mean, it's there. It's a backup option.
I'm my backup.
Yeah, I got your backup.
I'm very like obsessed of making whatever I do work. So I feel like whatever I chose to do would work regardless, even if I was semi good at it.
That's amazing.
Right? You're probably the same way. You're just so persistent and I'm persistent and stubborn. Are you persistent and stubborn?
Yeah, I've got like 3 people that would go like, yes, she's persistent and stubborn. Absolutely.
You've got to be. You have to.
Do.
You're your own best advocate.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm learning that though. I mean, like I've been very sort of restrained for so long. I think just because of feeling so like insecure about so many things. And I think, like I said, the journey of getting older, you kind of realize like, what am I waiting for? Like nothing's going to change unless I do. And there's space for me. I can take up space. I've always been so nervous to take up space. I'm like, and I tell my kids to take up space. Don't be scared. Take up space. Like I wish someone said that to me as a kid. Like you should take up space. There's space for you to say what you want to say and be who you are. And I'm only learning that much later in life. So I often tell my kids, you're so lucky to have such an older mom because I've lived so much life and I've learned so many things. That you can benefit off my wisdom. They haven't understood that fully yet, but you know what I mean. I'm waiting
when they have their own kids, they will. When they have
that's what I'm waiting for. When they have kids, they'll
I had such a strong, stubborn single mom, and like you just don't. And I feel terrible. Obviously, there's nothing. She's not around. She passed away right before the birth of my first son. And I probably wouldn't be the same strong woman had she still be like if she was still here. I would be such a baby, right? Because you still have your mom, your baby too. I wouldn't be it's unfortunate because and my sister and I talk about it often at our most stressful, sad times. We're like, we have no one to take care of us, and it fucking sucks. And we both just kind of talk on the phone and feel bad for ourselves for a second in that moment because it sucks. And I said the other day, I said, well, you know what? I'll just be that for you and you just be that for me. And that's that. And problems kind of solved. But you do not understand, like now, like my siblings and I really appreciate our really stubborn, strong, like she was full of wisdom, opinionated mother.
Amazing. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Now and now it, like that has helped us. Her passing, although it sucked, helped us be the stronger, more driven, more aware of that time is fleeting individuals that we are.
And that's what I love. Like my dad passed in April now, and he was such a champion for my art and for what I was doing. So it was really hard. Like I felt like that connection to my creative side was gone because I didn't really have that with my mom. But my dad very much was always interested in what was going on and what I was doing. So it was a very tough thing. But I love the fact that like their influence over life, even when they pass away, like their influence comes out even in a stronger way, which is so amazing. Like we think like, okay, I've lost them here, but in some way who they were and their influence comes out in our lives so much stronger after they've passed, which is so, it's like it changes you completely, but it turns you into someone so much more authentic and more real and a much closer version to who you are. So I love that. Like all the lessons my dad has taught me throughout my life sort of really came full circle when he passed away. Of just suddenly everything was just so much clearer in many ways. I mean, you're hurting, sure, and it still hurts a lot, but in many ways, like I feel so much closer and such a bigger connection with him than when he was here, for example. So it's such a special thing, and they carry with you throughout your life. And I see now too with my children the influence of my dad with them as well, which is just so beautiful. Like you can see it all kind of just in their lives, even though they didn't see him very much. It's all still there, and it's just so beautiful and profound, the impact people have on your life, especially your parents. And it's a beautiful thing, but it's hard when
Thank
they
you
go,
for sharing
obviously.
that. It is, it's hard, but I say that all the time is that, and the line from the Lion King, it's like they're living through you. They just are every single day. And you know why that movie was so successful is, like, I mean, so many things, but they had JTT. That's I mean, he was a hunk, but he was Simba. But like it was a hard movie in that regard, that like there was that grief element, but there were so many beautiful things like that change. Oh my gosh, we're talking about Simba and anyway, of course I am. The fact like he needed that whole journey to become who he was, to become king of the pride. And it wouldn't have happened the same way had his dad not died, saving him. And I read a grief book right after the loss, because my father-in-law suddenly passed away right after the birth of our second son. So I lose my mom, my husband loses his dad, and they were both like these really great people. And so my first son started stuttering a whole bunch. And he was like 2.5. So he wasn't really talking a ton anyways. Like, they're at that where thoughts are forming, but they can't quite communicate what they are. So he started stuttering. So I ordered a bunch of grief books, and they said, never skip past, like, talk about it with them. Never skip past in The Lion King when Mufasa dies. Like, don't skip past the hard parts. You face those hard parts head on, and you talk about them, and you embrace now I'm going past it, but you embrace, like we are, what lessons we're gaining. And yes, we'll be sad, and yes, it'll be hard. And then 6 months later, when he started learning to communicate his emotions, he started talking about the death of his papa. And so he called him papa. I know that's just dad in French, but that's what they called them, mama and papa. And he started saying how sad he was, and it would come up at night before bed. And that's the thing, the stuttering, kids are feeling everything we're feeling. Like they can absorb and fathom emotions. And he was there for everyone's grieving process too. I actually sent him, because I had a 3-month-old baby. So I sent Gus with my husband. He's like, I can't take him. Like, I can't watch him. Like, his dad just died. And I was like, no, I think you should. I think you should just, like, you guys are all going to, because I had just lost my mom. And I remember we all just sat there for weeks. We just sat there, and kids give you something else to, like, maybe it wasn't fair to Gus, but he definitely helped them all. Like, he gave them a focus point. He saw the joy, and Gus, like, was definitely Dwayne's, like, point of joy. It was his first grandchild. And I remember seeing Dwayne, and so many lessons that I got from that point, those 2 years where he had that experience with a grandchild, he would always, I think he knew, like, I feel like he always felt, because his dad died when he was young, that his time was limited, and that was like his greatest gift in life. And I remember catching him just staring at Gus and crying. And I remember in a cafe, we were on a trip, and he was just staring at him, and he just said, "This is what matters in life." And like, there are such profound lessons in those things that we could take away. Death and grief is hard. Death is very scary, but there's always impact from those moments.
Yeah, and it's not terrible impact. It's beautiful, life changing, changing your perspective impact. So it's very, very special. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it's been over 7 months now since my dad's passed away, and I just feel it was so incredibly difficult in the beginning. Not that it's not difficult now, but there's a lot more joy. There's a lot more joy coming in now. It's like, just when I see, like, I do things, or I the way that I act, in a way, I like, that's like my dad, and then I see my kids doing it. So in that way, it brings me so much like comfort and peace of knowing like a legacy of his is still strong, and it's still there, and it wasn't something that he intentionally set out to do, but by him just living his life was just such a huge impact. And it shows, it crops up in the most strangest moments. And then you think, oh my goodness, it reminds me of my dad, and it's beautiful. So yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Like, I never take life for granted. I never take the fact that we're all here for granted. I've really outlived a child, so I know that I don't ever take moments for granted ever. I just enjoy the chaos. I enjoy the mess. I enjoy the challenges and the crazy stuff. I don't sweat it. Like, it will sort itself out.
There's always something way fucking harder than the crazy stuff.
It's not worth losing sleep over. Like, there's nothing worth losing sleep over, really. It's just, it's not worth the energy. Go love your family. Go have fun. Go play a board game. Just don't sit and worry and fret and all that other crazy stuff. So.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I'm going to tell one more story, and then I have to go. I feel like I could talk to you a really long time.
Same.
I was at the hockey rink sitting next to one of the moms, and I don't talk about my mom a lot because it's like, it's hard, and you just want them around, so you don't bring it up all the time, you know. And for some reason we got on the subject, and I was like, we always find dimes, like my mom's sisters, my aunties, and my siblings, we just find dimes at these like odd times. So we say that mom sent a dime or whatever, or it was like a meaningful moment. And so we were talking a long time, and it was a good conversation. And then I told her about the dime thing. She's like, reached into her pocket, and she said, I found this in the entrance on the way walking in, and she pulled out a dime. And it's so crazy.
Oh, wow.
They're here in these ways. She showed up to watch hockey that day in some way, like, and
that's incredible.
Like, I think it's because, I get overwhelmed there, and it's just like, you can do this. You can do this. You can deal with the things that come along with sports.
But I love that, though. Like, the moment you choose to kind of open up and be vulnerable, it's amazing what happens. It's like, it doesn't happen every time, but it's amazing that time you do. I mean, look what happened. Like, how cool is that? Like, it's so special.
Or that there are people here for you, like that reminder that exactly. Like you're not alone in this.
Exactly.
I think that's what she is saying. Like, focus on the people who maybe connect to you, not maybe in the hockey crowd or all these people are going to understand you as a quirky creative, because they don't. A sports-minded complex, but there are people here that you can chat with and be yourself with. So stick to those people.
Exactly. No, it's so true. It's awesome. That's so special.
Yeah. Well, thank you. This was a special conversation, and I hope to see your lovely face again very soon.
Thoughts, the hives. I'm calming down, so that's great. It's been very calming. So thank you for creating a beautiful, safe, peaceful place to chat. So it's been absolutely awesome. Really enjoyed it.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Where can everyone find you?
They can find me at, oh, you mean like on Instagram?
Yeah.
You can find me in a garden. Find me at Babylon. No, I'm only kidding. On Instagram at black_tree_designs. So I'm pretty much just on Instagram. I don't really do Facebook and all the other things. I
Do you
find
have a
that
site,
kind of,
website?
I don't. I'm on Patreon as well,
Okay.
and also on Teachable. So it's all linked in my bio on Instagram. So it's easy to find me if you really want to. And like I said, if you're here, I'll be in a garden somewhere. I'll be in a garden near you. So if you see someone scouring around on your verge looking at beautiful poppies and stuff, it's probably me. So
Oh,
yeah.
you would love, we have a lady who just, it's called You Pick, but she literally just has gardens full of wildflowers so people can come and pick.
Oh my goodness.
It's called the cheeser. She also makes goat cheese. So
Amazing.
she's amazing. She's an amazing woman. We're lucky to have her. Yeah.
I'd have
Okay.
to put that on my to-do list when I come and visit
Come
Canada one
to
day.
Canada. It's not far. or
Absolutely.
anything.
I'd love to. I'd love to. Cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Okay. Have the greatest day. So great meeting you.
You too,
And we'll
Brandi.
chat
Thank you. Awesome.
Bye.
Bye.
If you want to feel empowered and inspired, like and subscribe for more. And if you want to get creative, check out all our art hacks on this channel.